Hey Nico, is it going? Because I don't see it.
Right. I don't see it either.
Okay.
Let's give it a few more seconds till I think there's a delay in the live stream.
Okay. Excellent. Good morning, everyone. You are joining SDRC's electronic reporting of special incident reports. We are in the process of live streaming this presentation to YouTube, so we'll start in a few minutes and give more of our attendees the opportunity to join us. We're at about 48 right now. Thank you. Good morning. For those of you who have just joined, you are at the San Diego Regional Center's electronic special incident reporting demonstration. We are also streaming this live on YouTube, but we're having some technical issues. So if you can just give us a few more minutes while we rectify those, and also wait for the rest of our participants, attendees, to join us. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. We are experiencing some technical issues. You can give us just one more minute. We have a new link for the live streaming of this presentation. I want to make sure that it's shared with some of our colleagues. I appreciate your patience. Thank you. All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for your patience. You are here for the San Diego Regional Center's electronic special incident reporting demonstration. I really appreciate the overwhelming response and interest in this training and then this presentation, and how many people that have registered in such a short amount of time. We went ahead and expanded it through our ability to stream live on YouTube, but like everything, there were some technical glitches, so we really appreciate your patience. If you do have any colleagues that are trying to get in right now, there is a new link, and we will get that out to everybody, but we will go ahead and get started. First off, if you are streaming live, if you have any questions, you will need to log in your email, and in the chat, you can go ahead and submit your questions, and we will review those questions at the end of the training. For those of you who have joined on the webinar, please enter your questions in the Q&A, and we will go over your questions once again at the end of our training. I wanted to just shout out to our service providers. This is a training for our vendors, but we do have the community partners and our service coordinators and program managers here today. But our service providers have been doing such a wonderful job during this challenging time of so many changes. And we're going to be discussing another change, but we hope this one will be both beneficial to you, your agency, and to our service coordinators. So I'm going to do introductions. My name is Kimberly Stites, and I am the regional manager at the Kearney Mesa office. I supervise 7 program managers here at the main office, and one of the program managers supervises special incident reports and risk management. I'm going to hand this off so that Johanna. I see that my voice is echoing. I apologize. I will go ahead and
Hi, good morning, everybody. This is Johanna Stafford, and I am the Program Manager for Special Incident Reporting. Thank you all for joining us.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nico Almosco. I am an Applications Analyst here at SDRC. Thank you for joining us today.
Great. So we are going to get started on in the presentation here, and I do see some chats that you're not hearing echoing anymore. So great. Glad to have that resolved. So you see the agenda in front of you, the online SIRS demo. We're going to go over the purpose of the online SIRS, review a little bit about SIR reporting and expectations. So a refresher, this isn't a full special incident report training. So if you do find that you're in need of more details, we can elaborate at another time or another training. Then Nico, our IT department, will go ahead and do the live demonstration. We'll go over the SIR webpage and the San Diego Regional Center website, and then answer questions. So Nico, if you can pull up my PowerPoint, and while Nico's doing that, I think we still have some people that are trying to sign in, so I do want to say thank you to the San Diego Regional Center's Information Technology Department. They have been very pivotal in getting this electronic special incident reporting program out. So once again, I'm Kimberly Stites, and I'll be going over a little bit about the purpose of this. If you can go to the next slide, Nico. The reason that we decided to do an electronic SIR is for a couple of points here. One is to make sure that we're complying with regulations. SIRs are time sensitive and do need to be entered at a certain point, and we'll go over the timelines. But we were finding that a lot of SIRs were late, possibly due to a lot of misunderstanding, and also due to having to fax them in a very antiquated system of reporting. So with the IT department, we sat down approximately 3 years ago to talk about a different way of leveraging our technology to make reporting simpler. Another reason for this is for efficiency. What we were hearing is before we were able to download or have a fillable document, a lot of our vendors were having to print off a paper copy right in the SIR and then fax it to San Diego Regional Center. And all of those steps, although they seem like they don't take that long, when you're writing a lot of SIRs and you have a lot of different tasks you have to do, it can be tedious, and there must be a better way. For our service coordinators and our one SIR coordinator for the entire agency, and we serve about 32,000 people, that was also tedious because they would then have to take that information to enter it into our system. So there has to be a better way where we're reducing all of these steps and focusing on what the reason is for doing SIRs, which is risk mitigation, managing the health and safety of the people we serve. And finally, about 3 years ago, we started doing trainings in the community, and vendors were saying, we want to use technology. I do not have access to a fax machine on Friday night. So how can we do this better? So we listened, and here's what we have. So going on, if you can go to the next slide, Nico, thank you. Just reviewing SIRs. It's a special incident report is completed for any unusual incidents that occur. This is anything that is an injury, a fall, taking someone to the hospital. What I want to be very clear here is for our service providers not to differentiate between what's a reportable SIR and a non-reportable. Everything that happens to the people we serve should be reported to San Diego Regional Center. Our service coordinator needs to know what's happening. It's called shared information. So everything is reported. SIRs are documentation to explain what has occurred. It supports our efforts to protect the people that we're serving, to prevent future incidents, to learn from our mistakes. So they are not a punitive document, although in the past they may have seemed like that, and they can if you continue making the same mistakes or you're not timely. What it's supposed to be, though, is about things will happen. How do we learn from them? How do we protect the person that we're working with? They are also factual. We only want objective information in the SIR. Next slide. Timelines. The timelines are super important. And this for our service providers is calendar days. That means on the weekend, if an incident occurs, you have 24 hours to notify your service coordinator. Yes, service coordinators don't work on the weekends. Yes, they are off. Yes, they have a flex day. Leave them a message. That is perfectly acceptable. Leave them a voice message, send them an email, catch up with them on their next working day to make sure they received it, to make sure that the on-call worker has it, but document that you left them a message. Then you have met your 24 hours of verbal notification. In addition to that, service providers have 48 hours to complete the written documentation. That needs to be submitted to Regional Center 48 hours following the incident. If you do not have all the information, that is okay. Send us what you do have. We don't expect the incident to be wrapped up in a bow in 2 days. Sometimes there are details that you're still gathering. And sometimes what you give us may change as you investigate more what happened. But what we will have is our timeline met, and we can always retract a SIR and add the accurate information before finally closing it and having our final report. So please report what you do have right away. Next slide. So what is to be reported? At all times, all of our service providers are required to report and complete a SIR if somebody passes away or someone is a victim of a crime. And the crimes are robbery, aggravated assault, larceny, burglary, rape, or attempts to commit rape. Now, the next section is reporting while receiving services. So if you suspect abuse, a serious injury, neglect, a missing person where you have notified law enforcement, or an unplanned or unscheduled hospitalization. This would be an admission, not just an ER visit, but ER visits we do want to know about too. So all of these incidents need to be reported to us. But if you're not sure about an incident, contact your service, report, and then we will follow up with you and provide feedback. Next slide. So vendor care, this is very important. If you are a residential provider, every incident is considered under vendor care 24/7. You are caring for the person 24 hours a day. So what that means is if the person has an incident that happens at the day program, you need to report that. Even though it happened at a different place, whatever you do know, you need to report. And yes, the day program needs to report as well. And the two reports will cross-reference. If an incident happens when the person goes home to their family on the weekend, let's say they come back and you learn that person didn't get their medication, that is an incident report and needs to be submitted to us. Yes, it's not your fault, but we still know that that is a problem, that the person didn't get their medicine. We need to report it, we need to document it, and we need to document how we're going to work with the family to make sure that they do get their medication. So residential providers need to report all of the incidents. Supportive living is under the same guidelines. Everything is 24 hours. Even though not all supported living services are a 24-hour service, this is something new that risk management and Mission Analytics, ARCA, and DDS have agreed needs to be reported regularly, and it is part of our new reporting alignment guidelines. Now for ILS, respite, and day programs, you're only going to report incidents that occur when you're present, when you're providing services. So if you come into the home to provide respite on the weekend and learn that Johnny got hurt on Wednesday and had 5 stitches, you would not need to report that. If you were a residential provider and learned that Johnny had 5 stitches, that is reportable and needs to be submitted to Regional Center right away. Next slide. Mandated reporting, I went over this because I just want to make sure that you are letting your team members know that we're all mandated reporters. And please empower your direct staff to recognize when they suspect abuse, they need to be calling CWS, APS, Ombudsman. This is their responsibility. This is all of our responsibility. And we should not have it go off to a supervisor or go off to calling San Diego Regional Center unsure if we should report. If you're concerned, report. It's important. So nothing will happen if it's not a reportable incident unless you're doing something malicious, which is not what we're doing. We're all here to protect the people we serve. So empower your team members that they are mandated reporters and to report any suspected abuse. Go to the next slide. So just an overview of SIRS. Make sure that when you are entering them that you're including your vendor number. Make sure you're looking at the incident type. This SIR that we're going to show you has a very long list of incidents, and some of them can be very confusing because they will say under vendor care or other. You always want to select under vendor care, because that's what is going to be reported by you under vendor care. Be objective in your narrative, but concise. You can provide some history. For example, if you're talking about Johnny who has fallen and Johnny has a history of falling, you might want to put in that he has fallen several times. Next slide. Actions taken by the vendor. This is really your part to shine as the service provider. Remember, I told you SIRS are not supposed to be punitive. They are here to provide documentation and to show the health and safety and how we are protecting the people we serve. So things are going to happen. How are you going to prevent it from happening? What steps are you going to take to mitigate risks? How are you going to improve your processes or your procedures? What kind of planning team meeting needs to happen to talk about the challenging behaviors or additional resources? But that's the information you want to include in this section of the CERT. When you submit the CERT, you may not know this is what you're going to do. So just put, we're going to consult with the team members. And then when you do have that plan, let the service coordinator know so that we can know that good follow-up is happening. Because documentation is important to show all the things you're doing to keep the people we serve healthy and safe. I can't emphasize this enough that CERS are being scrutinized at a very high level right now. Not only does the department who we contract with look at these CERS and ask multiple follow-up questions, but the federal government Office of Inspector General has been also looking at our CERS. They came out and did an audit in 2019. And I had to sit with them when they pulled 20 cases and asked questions about these CERS and about the entire case. And I want to give you an example to drive this home. An individual who was living in a residential facility had broken his clavicle. I had a Medi-Cal claim from OIG, the Office of Inspector General, showing that he had emergency room visit, had gone to the doctor, he was receiving treatment. But in the entire record, there was not one mention of this incident and what we were doing to follow up, to protect him, to make sure that he was going on to get physical therapy or treatment, not in a quarterly, not in an ISP. I'm sure it was happening. There's no way it couldn't have happened, but it wasn't documented. And that's important. We need to document those things because that's a failure then on our part. And I had to tell the Office of Inspector General, yes, we did not protect this person because I had no documentation to support it. So understand that this is the time to show what you're going to be doing. And make sure you're notifying all of the parties. We must notify our licensing agencies, client rights advocate, parents, conservators, they should know right away. They should not know 3 days later. And we also need to make sure that we're informing the protective agencies of any incidents. Next slide. The last piece is the follow-up. If you don't have all the information, which may happen, you will have follow-up questions. And we do expect that you're going to be investigating and gathering more information. And when you do, provide that information to your service coordinator. The incident isn't complete until it has the final outcome. Any additional facts you get, give that to the service coordinator. So you will have submitted a SIR. Do not submit another SIR. Just give the information to the service coordinator and they will make sure it gets to our SIR coordinator who will then update everything. And here's an important piece. Once that SIR is updated and finalized, we want to make sure that you get that document because you need it for your records. So you will need to contact the service coordinator for that updated SIR report. And this is a good time too when you're going through your quarterly meetings to make sure you get those updated reports. At your annual, did you get all the updated and finalized SIRs? And we can send those to you. That concludes my part of the overview. And again, if there are questions, go ahead and leave those in the QA and we will go forward with our demonstration. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Kim. Let me just go ahead and share my screen here. Kim, can you see my screen okay?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Awesome, perfect. So using the service provider portal, which is this web-based application that I'm currently on, you will have the ability to log in, create the report, and quickly submit that SIR to the regional center. And the data goes directly into our SANDIS database and can be immediately accessed by the agency. Now, your super user will be in charge of creating the individual accounts for your facility. For this part of the demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and log into the portal using a test vendor account. 39530. Hi. I'm also going to go ahead and type in a password. And once I have the username along with the password entered in, I'm going to go ahead and click on Login, which will take us to the home screen of the portal. Now, to enter a special incident report, we'll go ahead and click on the Enter/Update SIRS. This will display a screen allowing you to enter the client number you want to work with. If you don't have the UCI number, you can go ahead and click on this magnifier icon to search for the client. Now, keep in mind that access is only limited to clients with an active authorization with the vendor. For this demonstration, though, I'm just going to go ahead and type in a test client, 623-8671. And once I have the UCI number, clicking on Continue will take us to the client's special incident history screen. And today we will be working with Flintstone Fred. To create an SIR, we are going to click on the Start New Report button, and we'll go ahead and fill in the required information in the following screens. Now, across the top here, you have the client's general information. You have their UCI number, their name, date of birth. You also have the assigned service coordinator. The next entry is the report prepared by. This is where you would type your name. So I'm just going to go ahead and type in Nico Demo. We also find it very helpful if you include your role in your facility. So let's pretend that I'm a nurse. Next is the report date. This is the date that you are creating the SIR. Selecting the calendar icon will activate the calendar interface. And for today's demo, I'll just go ahead and select today's date. Now, moving forward, we have the incident type codes. For this demo, we are going to add an alleged physical abuse at vendor care. Selecting the magnifier icon will display a pop-up listing all of the incident type codes that we have in the portal. You can go ahead and scroll down to look for the incident type that you are creating an SIR for. Or if you'd like, you can go ahead and activate the filter and find feature by right-clicking the navy blue bar, and you can easily filter the list. Again, we'll go ahead and search for alleged perpetrator. Alleged physical abuse at vendor care. And there is the incident type that I want. From the screen, you can also select multiple incident types. But for this demonstration, I'll just go ahead and select alleged physical abuse at vendor care. I'm just going to go ahead and double click on that. And that will enter the incident type codes into the SIR form. The next section here is the incident date. Again, clicking on this calendar icon will activate the calendar interface, and we'll go ahead and select today's date again. There is also a section to indicate if that date is approximate. You can select yes or no. I'll just go ahead and select no. For the incident time, you have a field to enter the time and also have a section to indicate if that time is approximate. If the time is unknown, there is this unknown time checkbox to select. But keep in mind that when you do select that unknown time checkbox, it will disable the ability to enter the incident time and also the ability to indicate that time is approximate. So if you want to input that information, just go ahead and unselect the unknown time checkbox, and you should be able to enter the incident time and indicate that that time is approximate. But for this demonstration, I'll just go ahead and leave the unknown time selected. Now, if medical care or treatment is required, you have these radio buttons to select from. I'll just go ahead and select no. For the alleged perpetrator relationship, clicking on this dropdown will display your option list. For this demonstration, I'll just go ahead and select unknown. For the incident location, again, clicking on that drop-down icon will display your option list, and you can go ahead and read through the options and select the appropriate incident location. For this demonstration, I'll just go ahead and select day program. Now, if the incident happened under the vendor care, it's very important to enter the vendor number at the time of the incident. Selecting the magnifier icon will allow you to search for the vendor. So let's pretend it happened at a testing vendor. We'll go ahead and click on continue. And then the program will display the matching vendors. And I'm just going to go ahead and right click the second vendor to select. And the program will automatically populate the vendor information into the SIR form. Now, when you are finished entering the information on the screen, you will then click on continue. On this part of the SIR, if other agencies were notified or involved, you want to make sure that the agencies are selected. If the agency is not on the list, you can go ahead and select other and make sure that you specify the name of that agency. Now, in the description of the incident, this will allow you to elaborate more on what happened. Selecting change will open up a text field where you can include important information such as dates, locations, staff involved. I'm just going to go ahead and type in 408. Oops. Semic. And from this screen, you also have the ability to change the font size from small, medium to large, and also utilize the spell check tool to check for misspelled words. Now, when you are finished entering the description of the incident, you will then click on Save to save the information. And that will take you back to the SIR form. And notice that the information we entered is now displaying under the description of the incident. If at some point you need to change that information, you can just go ahead and click on Change and modify the information as needed. But when you are finished with this screen, you will then click on Continue. Now, on this part of the SIR form, this will allow you to document the outcomes or actions taken in response to the incident. Outcomes can be entered in pertaining to the vendor. Let's say you performed a staff training. It can also be entered in pertaining to licensing or other agencies such as CPS or law enforcement. When you are finished, you will then click on Continue. Now, on this last section of the SIR form, if you have the coroner's information, you'll have the ability to include that into the report. But what's important here is this comment section. If you want to add more information about the incident, you can go ahead and use this comment section. But for this demonstration, I'll just go ahead and click on Next, or Continue, excuse me, which will take us back to the special incident history screen. And notice that the SIR that we created is now displaying on the table. You have the incident date column. You have the date, the last time it was updated, the type of incident that was created. Now, in the status column, when an SIR is displaying a V status, that indicates that it's still sitting at the vendor level and it has not been submitted yet. However, once an SIR is created, the report can be viewed immediately by the regional center through SANDIS. You also have the transmission information and a column indicating if that SIR is reportable or not. Now, right-clicking the report will give you multiple right-click options. As long as the SIR is displaying a V status, you'll have the ability to change the report, print it, submit it, view, or delete. But what's important here is the submit button. In order for you to complete the SIR, you must submit the report. And selecting submit will display this pop-up, allowing you to generate a PDF email of the report. You can choose to submit without getting a copy of the report by selecting no, or you can go ahead and select yes to receive an email of the completed SIR for your record. For this demonstration, I'm just going to go ahead and select yes, which will then give us a preview of the SIR that we've created. I'll go ahead and click on continue, which is on the left side of the screen. And another screen will pop up asking if you want to email the report or exit without emailing. I'll go ahead and click on email report. And we'll just give that some time to load. And depending on the browser that you're using, you might encounter this pop-up indicating that you're about to leave this screen. So you can just go ahead and select leave, which will then take us back to the special incident history screen. At the same time, an email pop-up will display, allowing you to notify the assigned service coordinator that you submitted an SIR. But for this demonstration, I'm not going to go ahead and notify Dana. I'll just go ahead and close this out. At the same time, once you click on submit, the SIR will also disappear from your from the client's SIR history screen. This will allow the regional center to review the report and transmit it when it's ready. And so let me go ahead and quickly access the email that I received and show you what the PDF looks like. So here's the PDF version of the SIR that we've created today. Let me just go ahead and open that. And here's your PDF. So you have the incident information and the general information, client general information across the top. You also have the incident type information. You also have the outcomes information. But I'll just go ahead and close this out, and we'll go ahead and move back to the service provider portal. Now, to go back to the home screen, I'm going to go ahead and click on the orange X icon. And I'm going to go ahead and click on the orange X icon again. Now, from the home screen menu, you also have the option to click on SIR reports, where you can generate reports of SIRs that have not been submitted yet. You can also create a report of SIRs by vendor or SIRs by incident type. These reports are very helpful, especially the report of SIRs that have not been submitted yet. This will allow you to quickly glance at the SIRs created by the staff from your facility that are needing attention or needing to get submitted. But given that I'm in the test environment using a test account, it's not giving me any records. But within that report, you will have the client's UCI number. You have the client's first name and last name information, who the assigned service coordinator is. I'll go ahead and click on continue. And when you click on continue, you'll encounter this screen again, asking if you want to email the report that we just viewed, or if you want to just exit without emailing. This time I'm just going to go ahead and click on exit without emailing. And that should take us back to the home screen. Now to sign out of the portal, there is this log off button on the top right corner of the screen. Clicking on log off will sign you out of the portal. And that's pretty much how you would create and submit an SIR using the service provider portal. We have guides and tutorials available for you to access at sdrc.org. And the documents that we have on there will walk you through the same process that we covered just now. So let me go ahead and navigate to the SDRC website and show you where that information is. SDRC.org. All right. So this is our SDRC website. From the home screen, I'm going to go ahead and click on Service Provider. And from the option list, I'm going to go ahead and select Special Incident Reporting. And you will encounter the screen displaying the information for Special Incident Reporting. Now, under How to Report via Online SIR program, we have the instructions on how to get started with using the service provider portal. First, you want to download the service provider agreement form, get that signed and completed, and emailed to ebilling@sdrc.org. Now, under Guides and Tutorial, just go ahead and scroll up here. Under Guides and Tutorial, we have compiled all of the documentations we have for online SIRs in one section so that it's easy for you to access the instructions. We have the online vendor SIR tutorial, which will link you to the online SIR video tutorial, providing you a step-by-step process on how to create and submit an online SIR. Let me go ahead and go back to SDRC. We also have a documentation for how to submit an online vendor SIR, which will walk you through how to submit a SIR using the portal. We also have the online vendor SIR service provider portal super user setup. This covers how to maintain user accounts as a super user. And lastly, we have two facts documents here that list the frequently asked questions that we have gathered throughout the whole rollout of the program. One is for IT and the other one is for case management. So if you just click on it, it will list the frequently asked questions that we have gathered. And it's very likely that the questions that you have about the program is already on here. So the document for IT covers how are users set up, how can we access the portal, will the vendor have the ability to print the SIR through the portal. So you can just go ahead and read through that. Awesome. So that's pretty much what I have for you guys on my end. We are excited that we are making this new program available for you to use and hopefully make it easier to submit SIRs and submit them in a timely manner. So with that being said, is there anything else you want to add, Kim, before we go to the Q&A portion of the training?
Yes, I wanted to just highlight a couple of items during the online SIR. There is a section when you are entering the SIR that will say if it's reportable and not reportable. And Nico had mentioned it will be a Y or an N. Please don't pay attention to that. Submit the SIR to us. What we have found is that oftentimes a SIR that if you get caught up in the Title 17 regulations, if it's reportable or not reportable to the Department of Developmental Services, that oftentimes what happens is it evolves. And let me give you an example. Technically, per the regulations, we do not report a special incident of an individual who is admitted to the emergency room. We would not report that to the department. The department is Department of Developmental Services. However, that's information we need to know, and we need to have that because often that person then gets admitted. And once you're admitted to a hospital, it is reportable to DDS. So by us having that information right away, we can change that SIR and get it out timely. So I don't want our vendors to be concerned about reportable and non-reportable. I want them to report to us and let our SIR coordinator, that is her full job, and she knows what to do to get that out on time, and then what follow-up needs to happen. Plus, it's documentation again. It's documenting what you have and what you know is occurring for that person and what you're doing to help them. Once we can see a SIR, we are going to pay attention because if it starts sitting there longer than a day and we're getting into day 2, we're going to submit it because you're now going to miss your timeline. So really important that it doesn't sit there too long. We're going to reach out to the service coordinator to ask them to reach out to you. Are you having difficulty submitting it? Is there anything we can assist you with? But we are paying attention to those SIRs that come in because as soon as we can see them, and when I say we, it's just the SIR coordinator, the manager, which is Johanna Stafford and myself. Not everybody in the whole agency can see it. We're paying attention because we need to meet our timelines. We do get monthly reports on timelines, and that is important that we do meet the timelines. Nico, there is a question about adding attachments. And I know we were going to be working on that, but I'm not sure if we have that up and running yet. And I think we can go right into the questions then.
Okay, cool. All right, just a friendly reminder, please be sure to type your questions in the Q&A box, and we'll answer them as they come in. So the first question that we have is from Talia. I apologize if I mispronounce your name. Talia is wondering if receiving updated SIR reports is a new practice. Is there a way to receive historic updated SIR reports?
So that, as far as getting older reports, what I would say is we can give you reports that you have submitted online. But backdating like from last year, probably not. If you are in need of it for an audit, work with your service coordinator and we can work with the SIR coordinator. But really, this is about making sure you have the documentation because instead of having that paper SIR you typically would submit to us, you're just going to have one that is online, and so many changes can happen. We want to make sure we get that to you. So I think it would be really going forward. But if there is some SIRs that you don't have in your chart that you need for an audit, work with your service coordinator.
Awesome. Thank you, Kim. We have another question from Chris. I think this is a question that you mentioned, Kim. Are you able to add attachments? So with the email pop-up that displays, depending on the email program that you are using, it should give you the ability to attach documents to send to the service coordinator, but that's only if your mail program allows that feature. I know here at SDRC, when the email pops up displays, it opens up a email text field where we have the ability to attach a file. So if your program supports that, you should be able to attach a file to send to the service coordinator. Cool.
Great, thank you.
Of course. Next question that we have is from Laura. Can we upload additional support documents into the SIR? Example, an APS report? I think we are right now. There's no feature for us to include additional documents into the SIR itself through the portal. but we'll go ahead and add that to something to consider, because I think that has been brought up in the past before.
Yes, this is, we have rolled this out to 2 providers in a pilot, and I do want to say thank you to Lori Purcell from HGH and A Better Life to Give, A Better Life Together, Clyde. They both volunteered and have been doing the online SIR for quite some time, and they've been giving us feedback. And there are different things that we're going to look at in terms of how to expand and maximize all the features of this program. So perhaps that's something we can do, but one step at a time right now. So we appreciate your feedback.
Awesome. Next question that we have is from A. Robles. He's asking for a clarification. So if we discover information a week after the incident, such as emergency room visit, does this mean the SIR is not reportable because our staff was not present?
Okay. I'm sorry, this is for an ILS provider in a day program. And let me look at that again. I'm sorry. Are we able to?
ILS day program reporting. Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's correct. If you were not present during the incident, you would not need to report it. Of course, if you know about things, it's important to share that with the service coordinator, but that would not be an incident that you would need to submit a SIR for. Because you were not present, it was not your time of providing service to that person.
Awesome. Next question that we have is from Gina. Her question is, when does this go into effect, and is there an agency limit to how many users can be assigned access?
Great question.
So the first step here is to, we want to make sure that you have submitted the signed service provider portal agreement. Once we have that submitted, we also will be training your IT super user on how to maintain user accounts using the portal. And we will be sending out that invitation to the contact for the vendor. All right, answer live. Next question that we have is from Eddie. If there are multiple users for a vendor number, can any user update the SIR, or is the SIR person who initiated the SIR the only one with access to that SIR? Multiple.
Yeah, when he's saying multiple users, does he mean different staff?
Can any user update the SIR?
So what I would want to say is that once the SIR is submitted, you would not enter another SIR. So you would not be able to update that SIR once it's submitted to Regional Center. And if there was additional information, you would just send that to the service coordinator, and only our SIR coordinator would make the updates. But I wonder if, Nico, he's asking that when they're entering the SIR in and it hasn't been submitted, can other people go in and change it?
Right. Yes. So as long as the SIR has not been submitted yet, other staff will be able to update that SIR. Let's say it was a manager that wants to review the SIR and they want to make an update. They can go ahead and do that as long as they have access to the portal. Hopefully that answers your question, Eddie. Let's see here. We have a few more questions. Next question is from, go ahead. Sorry.
It looks like Karen wants to answer. Is that right, Karen?
Let's see.
Okay.
Karen. Karen, I went ahead and enabled your mic if you want to. answer that question or add more information.
I apologize. I probably hit that by mistake.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
I apologize for putting you on the spot there. Thank you.
Okay. Next question is from Lena. When will this new practice be effective? Do you want to take that, Kim?
Sure. So what we're doing today is showing you the practice of submitting CERS online, but there is more that needs to be put in place so that you can begin. And part of that is that you will need to, one, have the agreement completed for our vendor portal. And then we would want to make sure that you have the information to set up your users, because you will have to work with your IT department or whoever works with your vendor portal to set up who is going to have access to get in there and enter those certs. And how many people do you want to have access? And who is going to be the people responsible, the staff responsible for submitting? Because you can have staff that can enter but cannot submit, and you can have staff that can be the ones that would submit the CERS only. So that's another step, and we are going to meet internally to identify how we're going to work with all of our vendors and move through this. So if you are interested in getting ready to do that, you can definitely reach out to your service coordinator or to myself or our resource coordinator, and we will reach out to you to provide that next step. Does that work, Nico?
Yep, sounds good. And Lena said thank you. We have an anonymous question. Are the vendors and clients' information in this system already once the online access is tapped into? So we want to make sure that we create that account first for the vendor to access the portal. And once we have that set up for the vendors will be able to access the clients with an active authorization with your facility. You won't be able to access our entire database, just the clients with an active authorization with the vendor. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, I think that's a great question to reiterate that you will only have access to the individuals that you have an active authorization for providing services. So that will ensure that this is confidential, that you will not be able to just go into anyone's chart. So only the individuals that you are serving.
Awesome. Thank you, Kim. And it seems like that's all we have for question and answers. Do you want to do the closing?
Oh, I actually see one more. Moto G-Power.
Oh, okay.
Due to the technical issues, which we do apologize, and thank you so much again for all of your interest and patience. You're asking if this will replace the paper CER.
Oh, that's
yes.
a good question.
Absolutely. Yes, exactly. If you are going to be using the electronic CER, which we highly encourage, we do not want you to go back and forth and using the paper CER. We want you to ditch the paper CER and just use the online CER process. Now, of course, given that there is an issue with power and we need to go back to a paper CER and mail, that would be available. Or if you are an ICF provider and we do not have an active auth because Medi-Cal funds that, but you need to submit a CER, you may need to do that by paper. So paper will still be there, but we don't want it to be a back and forth. We really want the conversion to the electronic CER, and not to do both. Please do not do both. You will confuse and cause more work for our CER coordinator. And once again, one CER coordinator for 32,000 people. So please just do the one. And I think we have some more questions that just came up, Nico. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So we have another anonymous question. Can you create a portal for client folders to allow vendors to be better organized, keep everything updated and serve as a reminder when needing to update any form. It will also allow access to service coordinators and licensing to make sure everything is updated and good to go. This system will keep everyone updated and much more organized, minimizing deficiencies. That is a good point. And what I can do here is bring that up to our developers to see if they can provide something that meets that needs. But for now, that feature that you are requesting is currently not available, but we'll go ahead. I'll go ahead and try to bring that up to our programmers. All right. It seems like we have a couple more. Under the super user feature, will we have the ability to add or delete staff persons from the list of users? Yes, that feature is available. You will have the ability to create new users, add an email address, disable an account, enable an account, change their password, and we will go ahead and also cover that information when we do the IT super user training. Okay.
I will take the next one because I actually want to address this anonymous attendee. If this replaces the old SIR, then do we print this and use for licensing, or does licensing require the original? So I did communicate with Community Care Licensing and let them know that we are rolling out electronic SIR and how will this work with their reporting requirements. The feedback I received is if our document has all the information that they would require, which I believe it does, you can go ahead and email it to their main line or ask your LPA where they would like the incident information to be emailed to, and it will suffice for their documentation. So that is why this is going to streamline things for you who are needing to report to CCL, because when you have that option to email to yourself, you email that PDF, you can save that PDF, you can email it to CCL confidentially, you will be notifying us that you've submitted it, and you won't have to do another form. So CCL is on board with that, and let me know if you have any other feedback in the future. I hope that works out very smoothly.
All right, thank you, Kim. And I think we'll have time for one more question. It's again from an anonymous attendee. For vendors who would like a more in-depth training on reportable incident, where can they look?
So first, I would very much encourage that everyone take a look on our website, because that website has a lot of information and details about SIR reporting. It is very comprehensive. And if you're still looking for more information, reach out to your service coordinator and they will let both Johanna and myself know so we can see what the interest is and if we are available in the future. And right now we're in the middle of an audit, so please give us a little time. But in the near future, if we can go ahead and start providing some regional trainings to our vendors on SIR practices in general.
Awesome.
Do we know, I'm sorry, Nico, do we know if there are any questions from our live stream viewers?
Let me go ahead and check.
Thank you.
Oh, we have one from Alma Sandoval. It seems like Seth has been answering questions as well. So thank you, Seth, if you are still in the meeting. Question from Alma: can two people work on a SIR at the same time from different devices? For example, a staff and a supervisor. Let me go ahead and answer that. So as long as the SIR has not been submitted to the regional center, you should be able to make modifications to that SIR, but you won't be able to update that information simultaneously. So if the supervisor is working on that SIR and the staff also wants to update that SIR, the program will give you an error, a record lock error message. So you want to make sure that if the supervisor wants to work on that SIR that a staff created, make sure that the staff does not have that SIR opened. Hopefully that answers your question, Alma. All right, and that's all I have on the YouTube comment section for questions. And do you have time for one more, Kim? Seems like
Yes,
we have a catch up
absolutely.
from Lori.
Mhm.
Any connection with CDPH similar to the CCL notification? I'm unsure.
Unfortunately, Lori, I don't have a lot of connection with CDPH. So if you do, and you can put me in touch with them, I'm happy to share with them our process and see if we can do the same with CCL. I would hope we could, because that is our goal, to streamline everything for both our service providers and our service coordinators. Thank you. I appreciate it. You'll be our connection there. I appreciate that, Lori.
All right, Kim. Seems like that's all we have for the questions.
Oh, I did see one more, I think, under the chat. Nope, I think we answered it. Okay. All right. If you do have any further questions, you can reach out to your service coordinator and let them know, and they will go ahead. They are going to be your point of contact for all SIRS. They really do need to know about these incidents firsthand. And if they can't answer the question, they'll reach out to Johanna, myself, and our SIR coordinator for more guidance. And if it is an IT question, we'll go ahead and ask Nico for some assistance. But first, work with your IT team and work with your service coordinator. Any parting words, Nico?
Oh, that's all I have. Thank you so much for attending this this training. We hope you have enjoyed it and learned something from this presentation. Thank you.
I appreciate all your time. Thank you for your patience. We will have more in the future. Thank you to everybody.
All right. Take care.